We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, by the All-Star break, even if you can't stop thinking about taking a vacation someplace sunny and warm, but you don't want to miss out on any of the hockey action, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris is one of the leading sports books in the Western Hemisphere, with hundreds of sports betting locations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America.
Watch the game at a BetChris location. Food and drink specials and VIP lounges are available at many BetChris locations. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open your BetChris account.
Place some bets on your game and collect your cash at the window when the game is over.
BetChris offers single bets, parlay bets, teasers, and more on pregame and live odds for hockey and all your favorite Canadian and American sports leagues. And BetChris offers a variety of team and player props, including futures.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location. Deposit $750 or more and get up to a 40% reduced commission on your sports bets, up to minus 106 on single bets and parlay bets. That's the best juice in the biz.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris Sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, or to listen to or subscribe to the Hockey Betting Podcast, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Cam, you're Canadian. When you leave Canada and you're heading south, use the promo code PODCAST.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Thursday, December 19th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
Boy, this really is Start Your Engines on the Hockey Betting Podcast. Brian Blessing, hanging in chilly Las Vegas. Might be warmer up in Toronto where Cammy's hanging out, our dear friend Cam Stewart. Hey, want to thank all of you that are tuning in and jumping on board as we're just out of the gate on the Hockey Betting Podcast. Knock on wood, we've been knocking it out of the park because we love the sport, we care about it, and we think they're barking dogs as Cam. Give me a barking dog, Cam, out of the gate. Give me a barking dog, baby. Come on, boy. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing okay, Brian. Actually, it was a really nice night the other night. I took a chance with Jersey. I just thought it was a good position for them with the new coach not playing as well. And when I see Blackwood instead of Domingue, I feel a little more confident. Anaheim was on a road trip, so we nailed that. Colorado. I will say this, though, for the hockey bettors out there. All these guys that I used to know just automatically betting overs, we have to be very careful. We talked about this before.
Changing.
Every game, guys, it's changing. Every game went under. And the only reason I didn't clip a huge parlay last night, I had that over in Colorado and Chicago. It looked like it was going to get there, Brian. It was 3-1 with midway through the second period. They stopped scoring, 4-1 final. I can't get there for the parlay. It was a good night, but you said it. It's changing. They're playing more defensive. We're not having these track meet games that we saw before. So just don't blindly bet overs. I know people were making money before, but it's a dangerous game.
Well, and there are just some stories and things that happen over the course of time we can allude to. We our goal is to look ahead, but very briefly looking back, the big story: Taylor Hall finally gets traded. He's out of Jersey. It's funny. That's a great play on your part with Jersey. The thing was a distraction. They're not that good, but they're going to have their moments. But when trades happen, there are things you got to pay attention to. And out of the gate, Taylor Hall sets up the game-winning goal for Arizona the other night.
It's a Sharks.
Guys go on a heater for a week to 10 days after a trade, and you get that bounce in your step, and then things will calm down and settle down, and Arizona will go back to being what they were, which is either a streaky hot team or a streaky bad team.
Yeah, I think they're a streaky hot team. I still believe in Arizona, Brian. I know there's mixed emotions in the hockey world about this team, but I really like their young players. If they can get another blue liner, Kemper's been really good for them. And I always thought Antti Ranta was a very good backup, and he's done well. If Taylor Hall's motivated and give them the scoring with a couple of veterans that they have on the team, watch out for Arizona. We talked about them at the start of the year. I already made a bet on them at plus money to make the playoffs. And, now with Taylor Hall, I feel a lot better about it.
All right, Pally, let's look to Thursday night. We got a lot of games. We'll give you a little time to get to work on these games. Great game. One I think I would say sometimes if you want to just watch a hockey game because it's a hockey game, here's a good one. Okay, wait a second now.
Are you talking Islanders and Bruins?
Yeah, Islanders, Bruins.
I got to tell you, the Bruins they're like our igloo we were talking about.
Well, this price, what's the price? What is $1.90? They've been putting bad numbers up on Boston games. I mean, the Islanders plus 60. I was going to steer a million miles away from this game, but man, that price with the Islanders.
It's the only reason I'm not going to smash the Islanders is Boston is due, and they're probably just getting it. Cassidy's probably got these guys doing wind sprints. They've been horrible. And another thing, another good tip that we talk about, Brian, all the time, the old minus 300, minus 400 parlay that can't lose, it loses. It loses in baseball when you take the Astros and Yankees. Something bad's going to happen, and I know a lot of guys that got pumped in the Tampa Bay-Boston night. Tampa Bay was minus 450 against Ottawa. They needed overtime to win and should have lost that game, and Boston loses to the Kings. Those are bad ways to go about it. It looks easy on paper. It never is. I'll tell you something. It's Islanders or nothing for me. Boston's been ice cold. This team's not playing good hockey right now. As for the Islanders, they're coming off a big embarrassment, too. Thomas Greiss played the worst game of his career. The defense let him down. He looked bad. 8-3 to Nashville on a back-to-back. They had a 3-1 lead in that game. They gave up 7 smooth ones.
I like it even more. If a team like that gets embarrassed.
Correct.
Well, and by the way, you know what we'll do here? And we certainly are hoping we'll get many a loyal listener. And we're here to tell you what we like, what we think, and do with it what you want. But one of our goals is to, tell you stuff that resonates with you, that you'll be able to do a lot of this stuff on your own. We know time constraints. Maybe you don't get to listen to us, but you look at a hockey board and say, hey, wait a minute, the guys like this kind of thing. Cam, here it is again, my brother. You had the first game home, the Bruins, from a 4-game road trip.
Yep. And
they lost to L.A.
Yeah, and know what the thing is? I've learned about that trend. They usually lose against lesser opponents, too.
Amen.
I've been tracking it. If a good team comes in, they'll give it for a while and then maybe lose the second game. But a team like the Kings rolls in, a bad team like the Red Wings, one of the bottom feeders of the league, that's when they take the foot off the pedal and they can lose as a minus 300-plus favorite. So something to keep our eye on.
Oh, Cammy, well, it's back-to-back nights. We'll say I had a hunch here, but maybe not. I got one that's a fact. I got a dad's trip I'll tell you about shortly.
Nice.
Dallas and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's $1.55, 5.5 shaded to the over. Heartbroken the other night, Cam. I swear to you, I did it, and I didn't even know. This is the one rub with the dad's trip is finding out. But the other night, Ottawa's playing Tampa Bay. And you know what? I said, Tampa Bay is not playing good hockey. They're a $4 favorite. I had a little flyer on Ottawa. It goes to overtime. Pajot's got a breakaway from the other blue line coming in. Game on his stick. Vasilevsky stops it. They come back the other way and beat him in overtime. It's a $4 dog. Tampa's not playing good.
I agree with you, and that's the game we talked about, the old Boston two-step with that Tampa-Boston two-step. It didn't work. Boston loses. Tampa Bay got lucky to win. You were on the right side, Brian. Hell, you could have got plus 1.5 plus money if you wanted some security if the game goes overtime, which it did. So I know you like alternate lines, and you do a lot of really bold stuff, but I'll tell you something. How do you lay 60 cents? Sure, Tampa Bay could beat Dallas. They should. They're at home, but I have no confidence in this team right now. They don't play as a unit. As for Dallas, the one thing about the Stars, they can play a really pressing, very confident road game where they score first and suffocate you like a big python. They just got a hold of you and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and take the life out of you and turn it into an under-type game. I'm very, very worried and leery about laying 60 cents with a team like Tampa in their current form. For me, Dallas or nothing.
All right, buddy. Florida Flyers.
Big win, but that was an angle in that game, too.
Go ahead. Tell them the story.
Yeah, the kid with the cancer was there. The family was there. Yeah. Everybody got there. I remember I saw an interview with Fletcher. the GM before the game. He's in tears. He got choked up. I remember I clicked on Anaheim. I saw that stuff. I went live bet Philadelphia. I got to get out of this bet. Me and Gabe talked about it on our show, Brian. Like Philadelphia, what an angle. They got it done. They beat Anaheim. But I'll tell you, this is another night after an emotional win. Yes. The Buffalo Sabres almost came back and beat the Leafs. It was a crazy hockey game. I had the under, Brian, as we talk about unders in Toronto, overs in Buffalo. It looked like an under for a few periods, and then all of a sudden your boy Eichel goes nuts to get the Sabres back in the game. You know what? Give me the Buffalo Sabres as a 20-cent dog. They will go into Philadelphia and get it done tonight. I would love Elliott to start over Hart too, and I might make it an increased play. Give me the Sabres.
Well, here's the thing, bud. You know, whenever there are real life tragic kind of things, it's always tough to transition from that to talk about a game and handicap a game. But and obviously we our hearts and prayers, everything go.
It's a horrible story,
right? Yeah, and you hope the kid's going to be okay. And good for the Flyers doing that. But you're right. I mean, the sheer fact is there's a hockey game that would be, I would think, a letdown spot. Now they've been very good against Buffalo in this building, but I will tell you that game, Cam, the Sabres were asleep at the switch for the first half of that game, but they tilted the ice at the end of that game. And oh, by the way, Jack Eichel is now in the Hart discussion. And you talk about a team, and I'm telling you that I think the team actually rallies around this intangible thing that's going on. And that is Jack Eichel tonight can break the franchise record held by Gilles Perreault since 1971.
One of my favorites, Brian. I had a Gilbert Perreault jersey as a kid when I didn't even tell you this story. I'm not sure, and I've known you for years. My aunt's best friend's father was Ed Chadwick. He was a goaltender in the original six, and he became a Buffalo Sabres scout in the early 80s. And, I used to get Sabres gear all the time. So even being a Leafs fan, I know they played against the Sabres. I had a Gilbert Perreault jersey. I had a Sabres fan a member card, a wallet, all sorts of stuff, right? So I've always had a soft spot for Gilles Perreault. And you want to talk about a guy who's talented? You could beat his record. He's a legend, not just in Buffalo, but in National Hockey League circles. That's a big thing.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, this is a podcast for another day. But when I first started going to hockey games as a kid, it was standing room only in the odd. And to this day, I've never seen anything like it. It was remarkable when the French Connection in their heyday, the defenseman would go behind the net. And he'd stand there and he'd just wait. And Perreault would start at the red line. Yeah. and he would come back with a full head of steam. And as he did, the building stood up. And this ain't no joke. And Perreault would come whipping around, get the puck from the defenseman. And Cam, as God is my witness, 8 out of every 10 times, he would go coast to coast through the entire team.
Yep.
Get a scoring chance. It was insane.
No, the guy's the best. Gilbert Perreault is one of my favorite players growing up as a kid. I love his game, and I'll tell you something. That's a big deal, and you don't think the Sabres players know that about Eichel? He was cold early in that Leafs game, and then he got hot. They scored again. And
how about the goal? I mean, they're all talking about the Matthews goals, which were great. How about the goal he scored?
The goals that him and Austin Matthews scored in that game are like highlight reel material for years. Those guys really put on a show. It was a great hocky game. But you know what?
The record, I didn't say what the record is. The record, he's going for to keep his. He's going for an 18-point streak, 18-game point streak, and he's rapidly closing in on the all-time record for an American player with Patrick Kane.
Kane, exactly. I think he keeps it going tonight. And I think the Sabres are a nice price. Philadelphia letdown spot after the last game beating Anaheim. If Buffalo shows up tonight, if they want to play this game, they'll win. Give me plus 120 with the Sabres.
And what I'm getting here, we're getting Olmark, who's been, the numbers don't look that great, but the saves Olmark makes. I mean, he kept Buffalo in that game to have a chance. He plays very, very well. I will say this: they've got to play Hutton at some point. I will just throw
not tonight.
No, it's Olmark tonight. But it is part of our thing that will get you into the weekend. There's a matinee game Saturday
That's
the
what
LA
Hutton plays.
at Buffalo. Buffalo owns the LA. They own these teams at home. Buffalo's been a very good team at home. But you know what? It's probably going to be Hutton. It's a matinee game. Love the over on Saturday, LA and Buffalo.
Yeah, when Hutton's in there, it's like a smooth 5 minimum. So, yeah, you got to take the over in that game. Like, seriously, it's like 4 at best, probably 6. I'll middle it at 5. Next game, Brian, on the board. Actually, I don't like to take as many favorites. I might maybe do the -1.5 here or parlayed. I like Columbus. They've been playing great hockey recently. Really was wrong about them a couple nights ago. Another night where I had a really good night. And when Nashville beat the Rangers, I had all the games right. I needed this for a parlay, and they blanked Washington. I don't know what it is about these guys. They own Washington. The Kings are coming in, beating Boston. I think Columbus at home, the way they're playing, come back against Detroit when things got to get out of control. They had penalty trouble. They held on, got it done. I like Columbus. It's only 45 cents, buddy. Sign me up with the Jackets tonight.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, betchriscanada.net. All right, pal. Listen, is this a bad? Well, no, wait a second. Now we're seeing it. It was 6, but it's 6.5 under 20, so you're getting plus money. Nashville is at Ottawa, and $1.50 on the road, but the total 6.5. I'm wondering, Cam. Nashville, you're sitting there going, "What's Poyle gonna do? Could it be Laviolette? Will there be a trade coming? There's too much talent there, but there's still 3-4 games over 500. But I think, maybe right now you're seeing something like you saw with the Blackhawks that was like putting a Band-Aid on a head wound, and it worked when Chicago was playing the forward high and playing track meet games, and they were winning games. And on this road trip, well, right now, okay, let's just deal with the moment. 4-game road trip. They beat the Rangers 5-2. They beat the Islanders 8-3.
Which was nuts.
So they're clearly saying, we're changing things up. We're not getting great goaltending from Rinnie. Saros has been better, but now Nashville's just saying, you know what? There's a way we like to play. It's not been working. Let's unleash the skill we have. And at least at the moment, how do you not play these guys over the total at a plus price?
I agree. I'd like to take Ottawa in a track meet. I just can't. Nashville over that game, they're probably going to, when you beat a team like that, maybe they still have the momentum. I love Ottawa, though. Like, it's actually crazy. I should hate this team. I respect them so much for what they do with so little and the way they played Tampa this week. They grind, and I respect that. I like teams that show up for the rink with less talent, but they can beat you on any given night. This could be a dangerous spot for Nashville, though. They've had a really good road trip, as we talked about, Brian. They beat everybody, all the New York teams there. But yes, the over will be played at 6.5. I agree. If I think Ottawa can get 3 or 4, and I think Nashville can get 4 or 5, yeah, I think this is a game that we're going to play the over. I just don't know what side to take. It's very difficult.
Chicago, Winnipeg, $1.60 on the Jets here. Listen, and they're coming off a beatdown by Carolina.
I like the Jets tonight.
I like the Jets a lot, but there's only one way to play it, Cam. If you like them on the puck line. Blackhawks have lost 5 of 6.
Yeah, Jets are the play. They got their they got their asses handed it to them by Carolina in that game. I was on Carolina, and I remember it was 2-2. The Jets were fighting early. Carolina scored. They responded. Then after that, boom, Carolina just took over that game and absolutely decimated them. The Winnipeg Jets are still better than the Blackhawks. It's a reasonable price. You said it, Brian. You take them regulation, you take them puck line, you parlay them, whatever you want to do with them, whatever your style of gambling that fits your needs. I like the Winnipeg Jets to get it done at that. And I thought the price would be about $1.70, so we're getting about 10-15 cents of value. Sign me up with Winnipeg.
Carolina's at Colorado. What? A pick? Listen. And the total is 6.
Carolina's hot as hell.
Okay, here's the thing. The game, you got to play it over the total because on this.
Listen, Colorado burned me yesterday for my huge parlay, and that would have been Christmas money. Like,
okay,
I thought I was going to win a lot of money.
That's why.
It's why. So you're saying over? You like the over?
Well, on the road trip, Carolina 6-3 at Edmonton, get shut out at Vancouver 1-0, but put a 4 spot up at Calgary 4-0 win, and then beat the Jets 6-3. Yeah, you ain't shutting out Colorado.
No, you're not shutting out Colorado. Colorado dummied, and I got to believe they kind of took it easy on Chicago last night. Like, I can't believe that game didn't go over, Brian. It was 3-1 midway through, too. Like, they scored goals in bunches, and I'm sitting there, and they score one goal in the third period. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, even Chicago, do something. Make it, 3-2 so we can get an extra one. Things can happen. It's just,
Cammy, sometimes the number tells you something, right? It tells a story.
Yeah, it
does.
The
number, because I looked at it. Okay, I mean, I should have known right out of the gate, but like immediately, a pick? Well, Carolina's sitting in Colorado watching Colorado play in Chicago.
I'm telling you, I'm taking
it's a schedule thing.
I think Carolina can win tonight.
Why not? But I do think it's high scoring. If Colorado's tired, where's that show up? Legs, defensive end of the rink.
Yeah, no, I just like what I saw from Carolina against Winnipeg in that game. Like, they just turned it on. Colorado, sure, you beat Chicago. I'll tell you, too, I think we have a goaltending edge, too. Even though Francouz is playing well, when Mrazek's on, that's the thing. When he's on, he's really on, and that could be scary. But I do agree with you. The back-to-back over at 6, not 6.5. I got to tell you, Brian, I might ride Carolina, and I will ride the over 6.
All right, buddy. And here again, we
Montreal's been good to me, man. I took them in Vancouver that night.
Wait a second. Now he's going to let me.
Sorry, Brian. I get excited.
Don't get excited. Well, no, we like when you're excited. No, but my point was going to be, and we again, I hope you'll be with us when we do this stuff.
Yeah.
Did we not early in the week? We said, "Oh my God, Montreal has a 7-game road trip, and they are facing monsters, and their season's on the line." And we said they better walk into Vancouver and get a W there, or their season could literally go off a cliff. And that, if we're sitting there saying it, you think they're not flying out to Vancouver looking like, oh my God, look who we're playing. We got to win this game. So they did, but now you're jumping off the 10-meter platform into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, the thing is, Montreal in that game, and I watched it, they also had a horrible goaltender interference call that went against them. I thought it was pure BS. Like, I don't get mad about a lot of stuff now. The defensive player pushed him into the goalie, and they didn't count it. It really pissed me off, but it actually got Montreal mad in that game. Like, they were looking at the ref going, you piece of junk, and then just came in there in the third period and went bam, 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 bam. Yeah, call another penalty on us. Like, they played with an edge that I really, really respected that night. As for Calgary, they're laying 35 cents. They're coming off that loss to Pittsburgh. I don't know what to do with this game. Big save Dave's in net for Calgary. Rittich against Carey Price. I kind of want to take Montreal again, Brian. Like, I really like what I saw in that Vancouver game, but Calgary's been on a heater till they met the Penguins. Tough game.
All right, pal, I'm going to throw one at you, and got an up close, and I mean an up close and personal look at it at the game with Minnesota in Vegas. And I got to tell you something, buddy. Stalock played phenomenally well for them.
Yeah,
but both ends of the rink. I remember we've been saying now for weeks, Minnesota's an over team, and I'm telling you, there is so much space and room coming down the middle against this Minnesota team. And I know it's Arizona, but I'm seeing a mixed bag here. 5.5 under 30, and then how about this? And then a 6 under 30. How quirky is that?
That's it's weird.
I like the game over.
I do too. I think Minnesota too. The 3-2 game against Vegas. Many opportunities. That game could have been over. You're all over that game. I like what I've seen from Arizona since the trade of Taylor Hall. I think he's going to be great for them. We talked about it, setting up the winner versus the Sharks. SJ Sharkey there. I like Arizona. I don't want to lay 65 cents, but I think they can run circles around Minnesota, a more veteran team. But Minnesota scores, too. They take chances. Brian, you said it. Lots of open ice, and they're not that team that we used to think about. The Devils, Wild, those 2-1 days are over. I'm thinking, yes, I do. At 5.5, I will take the over, and I have a lean to the Coyotes. Can they keep it rolling, though? I'll tell you, Kemper's been very good for them, and I prefer Stalock over Dubnyk. I think Arizona's the play.
All right, buddy, let's do the old get out dealio for you.
Yep.
And it's Vegas at Vancouver. Vegas just throttled these guys. And by the way, Minnesota, just to put Minnesota to bed, the 2-goal lead in hockey, right, Cam? The old cliche.
Yep.
Vegas in complete control of the game. Minnesota gets a goal. Boom. Minnesota 30 seconds later, a great chance on Stahl's stick could have tied the game. But I'm telling you, Vegas throttled Vancouver over the weekend, and there was a bite to that game. And all of a sudden, here's Vegas going to Vancouver with the dads. It's the dads' trip at Vancouver. Play them again against San Jose. Both of these games will have a bite to them. They're rivals with San Jose. England got a couple scuffles with Roussel, but Vegas, first 2 years of their existence, Cam, with the dads in tow, 4-0. I'm not laying 40 cents. I want the balloon. I want the puck line. I want the plus price. I don't sit here and, just blindly throw Vegas out because I think they're racking up points, Cam, and I don't think.
What about the total? Score. Vancouver scores. That's the thing about them is they give up goals and they score goals. They play loose hockey.
Well, you could come right back with it. I'm going from memory. I could look it up real quick. Was it 6-3?
Yeah.
The game played last week or Sunday?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Was it 6-3? Yes, it was 6-3. You are correct. So
I like Vegas on the puck. You can't parlay it, but I like Vegas on the puck line, and that's got to be.
Is Fleury playing?
Yeah, Fleury tonight. You'll get Subban at San Jose, but you'll get Vegas on the puck line here. Oh, no, plus $1.85.
Yeah, I like that. I actually did that with the Devils last night, and I don't play like puck lines with bad teams, but man, it paid off big time.
And you want an emotional,
-1.5,
you know what?
plus 220. I'm like, yes, New Jersey. When Anaheim scored first too, their odds live were like plus 240. I only put like $20 on it. I was thinking about going more. And bam, they scored 3 unanswered goals. This live stuff when you're down a goal, that's the way to go, man. I'm with you. And your alternate lines make sense.
And you know, buddy, I mean, I almost don't want to do this, but he's such a good guy. Marc-Andre Fleury is such a good guy. Honestly, he's just so down.
He's a nice guy. When I did my journey of the cup, like he talked to me and stuff. A lot of players are like bent. Like he has time for everybody.
You know what? It's a game day. You're not supposed to talk to the goalie in the game day. It was just when he had just gotten back. His pop passed away.
Yeah,
and just walked in a game day, and I just very quickly walked over, shook his hand, and said, say a prayer for your dad, and he's like, thank you, but he's such a wonderful guy. And, again, it's an odd thing. Again, we talked about it with the Flyers and their situation. You know what? It's the dad's trip.
Yeah.
And Marc-Andre Fleury just lost his dad. You think these guys aren't going to play? I mean, literally, go through a wall for him.
Yeah, that's a really good angle. Yeah, his father passed away. The team father's trip, like he's gonna be emotional. It's gonna be an interesting night. Yeah, they're bringing their A game. If they like the guy, which they do, they're bringing their A game.
They love him, and it might be a tough night for him to play.
Yeah, that's the only angle. Like if you're looking at Vancouver, that's the only angle you could play is it's father's trip. His dad passed away. He might be too emotional.
I don't think so.
But I don't. I agree.
I think
he's been in this league for too long. He'll figure it out. You know what he'll do? He'll play a great game and get emotional after that.
Oh, I mean, just picture the end of that night. All the other dads coming up to him. I mean, they're gonna play. They're gonna play their heart out for this guy, and deservedly so. He's the backbone of the team. All right.
For sure. What are we doing next there, buddy?
Let's take a quick peek ahead here to Friday night. 4 games. I would just take a look. The only one I'd say, well, let's do 2 real quick. Toronto at the Rangers. I got to like the over. I'm telling you, Cam, the Marner's healthy again. The Leafs are a dog's breakfast in their own end.
Oh, they are. But have you seen?
Lord.
But on transition, they're scary as hell. Like I looked at the Buffalo defensemen, they're like, "Oh God, here they come!" Like that's the thing. The Toronto's horrible in their own end. They're amazing on transition.
Well, you know what they're doing, Cam. They're letting teams. No, they got a guy. They're doing this. Okay, by design, and it's working. It ain't going to work in the playoffs if they get there. But they got a forward cherry picking.
Yeah, I know they do.
They got a guy out at the red line, and so there are going to be several stretches where the Rangers cycle them and get some chances down low and score. But the majority of the night, the Leafs will fend them off. Anderson will make a big save, and bam, stretch pass, breakaway, 2-on-1. It's over.
Yeah, the Rangers. It's one of these games. I still think the Rangers can score. There's no guarantees that Anderson plays in this game. They've had a big talk about trying to get Hutch in there.
He's playing.
Okay, he's okay. I'm just saying, Brian.
I'll tell you why I can say
because they're talking about Comrie, they're talking about Anderson. They're like, what are we going to do? We can't play Anderson into the ground. When do we play Hutch?
Cam, you're a smart guy. I'm I can hang with you a little bit, but buddy. They played Detroit on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
You tell me where they're playing the backup.
Yeah, Hutchison will play the Red Wings, but yeah, Anderson
will play the over in that game.
Yeah, he plays. He's so bad. The Leafs had to go out and get it. That's the one thing about Lou Lamoriello. If he was GM, he wouldn't put them in this situation. They'd have a respectable backup goaltender, but it won't matter against the Rangers. I see the Leafs in the over in that game. I will tell you this, Brian. You tell me every week. Let's look for a team that might turn it around. I'm not sure if this is the night they're going to win, but the New Jersey Devils, after that win, are a team they're not going to be on auto fade anymore. Watch out for these guys. They can start to show a little bit of grit. I like what I saw in the Anaheim game. They really tightened up defensively. They came back in that game with 3 unanswered goals. I'm not going to say they're world beaters. They've been the biggest disappointment in the league. Just watch out for New Jersey and like a little short heater. I think they're going to play some good hockey and surprise some people.
All right, Pally. Current form, this is a scary thing. But Saturday night, Pittsburgh's at Edmonton. Edmonton, we said they were running McDavid and Draisaitl into the ground. It was unsustainable. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. Funny, on a Saturday night, though, freshened up a little bit. Maybe see them come up with a big effort here. But I got to tell you, pal, the two, and you talk about flying under the radar. I mean, I talk about it a lot, but I don't think the hockey world is much. And the two of the very best stories in the NHL this year is what Winnipeg's doing with that defensive core.
Exactly.
And how Pittsburgh is 10 games over 500 with Crosby eating popcorn.
Yeah, and then what do they got? Vancouver? I'll tell you something, Brian. This Jari kid, when he's on, he's on. That's the thing, right? They throw out Murray, but Jari's been getting a lot of play time for them. He's been really good. I've been very impressed with the Penguins. You said it. Like, they had a real tough game. Calgary was on a heater. They're feeling really good about themselves. You know, they got Peters. Peters got fired. The new coach came in. The players like him. They're on a roll. And what does Pittsburgh do? They break their hearts. They just go in there. Calgary scores first. After that, Pittsburgh's like, okay, Calgary. Ding, 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 ding. They just absolutely peppered them. And they're a scary club. Like, you look for them all the time. Yeah, never count out the Pittsburgh Penguins.
All right, let's move to Saturday. We already mentioned L.A. Buffalo, matinee game, probably Hutton, like the over there. The Nashville game at Boston, you might get a 5.5 there. I doubt it. Probably 6. But see what Nashville does in the game we talked about on Thursday night. If they're still doing the let's play track meet hockey, ride the wave. I mean, in transition, Boston can score.
I'll tell you another thing that a game might sneak under the radar. A lot of these upsets happen this week. These type of games. I like, your Buffalo Kings over we talked about with the goaltending there. Be very wary of Winnipeg. Minnesota at home tends. It's kind of like a rivalry, right, Brian? Because of geographics. I wouldn't sleep on Minnesota in that game. I know they're coming back from a road trip, though, so that makes me a little bit wary. Detroit and Toronto, probably the over. Detroit will score. The Leafs will score 1 million. In that game, and Hutchison's in net there. And Ottawa might be a nice pooch against Philadelphia. I never trust the Flyers laying a price.
Well, the other one too, and we're raving about them, but this is where we get the plus prices, right? This is why we say this stuff. What do you make of Florida over Carolina? Carolina's first game home from the Western road trip.
I like it. There's going to probably play Dredger instead of Bobrovsky. This kid's going to be hungry. I like it. Carolina, especially if they have a really great road trip and it started off fantastically, so they come back home feeling good about themselves, Florida will be played at a dog price. I think I'm looking at a lot of them too, even like New Jersey and Columbus. I think it's going to be a dog night that night. And don't sleep on Montreal, Brian. They figured it out. I know it's very hard to maintain success on a road trip, but I really like what I saw in Vancouver. We'll see what happens, but they can go into Edmonton and beat the Oilers.
All right. So then let me throw this one at you, my friend. We'll wrap it up with this. We think Vegas with the dad's trip gets Vancouver.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we like that. Yeah,
now,
Vegas to win.
Vancouver, if that happens, if that comes to fruition, then the Canucks will have lost 4 in a row to the Sharks. It would be to the Golden Knights twice, and lost to the Canadiens. And just public perception
is brutal.
You want a value number, and I hate value. There is no value in ripping up a losing ticket.
Correct.
But if that's the case, you would think you would get one of their very best efforts, but you'll get Vancouver fresh as a daisy after Pittsburgh played at Edmonton the night before, and that ain't no fun flight. So I think Vancouver catches Pittsburgh Saturday night.
I agree.
And you're going to get a number that you shouldn't get. I mean, Pittsburgh will probably still be a quarter on the road. Vancouver should be the favorite.
Maybe even 35-40 because of Vancouver's current poor form. I love the Canucks in that situation. That's right, Brian. See, that's what you do. You're looking ahead to the schedule. Losses here, losses here. Oh, everyone. Oh, the Canucks, they can't beat anybody. That's the night you jump on them. When the public perception and the numbers are off, that's when we get on them. They're going to be a desperate team. Hell, Pittsburgh's great, but I will take Vancouver that night and at a plus price. It will be played. They're not playing good hockey, but they'll show up versus the Penguins, buddy.
Yeah, I mean that's just the scheduling situation. That if I'm not, wait a minute, buddy, look at this. Oh boy, I like it even more. I like it even more. It's the last of a 3-game Western road swing, but then they are off. They are off past Christmas. And Pittsburgh's playing back-to-back nights. Buddy, I don't care, who you are. I don't care who the team is. Their head is going to be on that plane going to a 6-day break. There may be some guys from Pittsburgh, I ain't kidding you, some of those guys, going to Cancun or going to the Bahamas right from there.
Yeah, exactly. They got their bags packed, and it's not hockey equipment. It's trunks and goggles. Yeah, give me the Canucks. Hitting the coral reef. Yeah, we're part. Let's do it, man. Yeah, swim up bar with the Penguins.
You're like about 6 minutes. 6 minutes to go in the third period. You go, why is Letang out there with a snorkel?
Yeah, where are we? Playa del Carmen? Oh, okay. Yeah, Vancouver's up 5. Okay, let's just get the hell out of here. No, I'm with you. See, those are good angles to play, and I just wrote this down on a piece of paper. Star, play Vancouver over Pittsburgh Saturday in any situation, any price. We're in.
I think we found some good ones there.
I think so too, buddy. There's some tough stuff. I've been really noticing those the small road favorites too, like the Montreal when they beat Vancouver that night, Brian. The plus 105s, the plus one evens. The other night too with Carolina over Winnipeg. The plus 105, 110 tops, even. Like pick them. Like I find the visiting team in those situations are really getting it done lately. So just something to keep your eye on.
Good stuff, man. We got you covered through the weekend on the Hockey Betting Podcast. Brian Blessing and Cam Stewart. Bundle up, buddy. Stay warm, but let's heat it up with some nice barking dogs. We were barking on the front end. Take us home, buddy. Come on, Pooch. Go, Pooch.
Fresh meat.
You've been listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, BetChrisCanada.net.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling, and do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.